we are, I believe, the largest volunteer-based tax service in the state, and one of the largest in the United States. So essentially, how the process works is if you or your family make $58,000 or less, you can come to any of our neighborhood tax centers. This year, we're going to have 27 open during tax season,
Wow.
which is crazy.
Yes.
And our volunteers who are assisted by employees will help you do your taxes for free.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Spotlight Houston, where we bring you the best of the people, places, and events in Houston. This week, we dive into the impact Baker Ripley is making on Houston, their long history in our city, and how they are adapting to help Houstonians. We sat down with Elizabeth Hale, communications manager, to learn more about this nonprofit organization. And now your host, Blanca Quesada.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Spotlight Houston. So glad that you're joining me again. Did you know that there's an organization that's been helping out a lot of people in Houston and underserved communities since 1908? I can't believe it. And since then, it's been hundreds of people that they've been able to help throughout the city. And they started in one little space. And so I think it's just amazing that such an organization can exist and just grow and grow. And it continues to keep its doors to all that need help. And whatever assistance they require, this organization is there. I've invited Elizabeth Hale. She's the communications manager for this amazing organization, like I said, Baker Ripley, to give us the organization's history, how it's been able to stay in our city for so long, and talk about its program and services, and so much more because there's a lot. So welcome, Elizabeth. It's great to have you on the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm excited to hear everything you've got to say. Like I said, I'm amazed that Baker Ripley has been around in our community since 1908. It's unthinkable sometimes that organizations can last this long. But how about if we start with the history of this organization?
Sure. Baker Ripley has gone through several different names, several alliterations over the years. It was actually in 1907 when our founder, Alice Baker, brought together a couple, maybe a dozen very well known women in the Houston community and said, look, we've got to do something. At the time, there were not a lot of resources for underprivileged, poor communities like the East End. A lot of the people that lived there were first generation Americans or they were immigrants. They had come here fairly recently, and there were just not a lot of resources for children when it came to basic needs or even going to school. In 1907, our founder got with several women and they formed the Houston Settlement Association. That was the first name of what is now Baker Ripley. And they formed the Rusk Settlement House, which was located as it's no longer there, but it was located in the East End. And it really became like a beacon of hope and warmth and welcoming for new Houstonians who had lived in the area and just lacked the resources that they needed, and also a place of connection. Free classes, sewing classes, gardening. So, stuff for children, stuff for adults, stuff for people to come together and really form a community. And that was, yes, early 1900s.
And the home that it was opened at, it was beautiful, a two-story place, just beautiful. I saw some of the pictures.
Yes. Hey, on our website. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The home was gorgeous and definitely just somewhere in the East End area that people knew that they could come and there was always going to be a helping hand, a warm welcome. People knew that in the community. They knew the Bakers. Alice Baker and her husband, Captain Baker, were very well known in the Houston community. And then fast forwarding to the 1940s, is when the other half of Baker Ripley comes into the equation, and that is the Ripley family. Edith Ripley was a well-known socialite in the Houston area. Her husband had been too. Her husband passed away, I believe, in the 1920s or 1930s. And then Edith passed away in the 40s. And when she died, she left her fortune, the majority of her fortune, to a foundation. And that became the Ripley Foundation. And that Ripley Foundation partnered with the Houston Settlement Association to expand and grow the organization. And that was when the first version of Ripley House opened. And obviously, Ripley House stands today in the East End. It was reconstructed, I believe, in the early 2000s, but the original Ripley House opened in the 1940s.
It's
Um,
beautiful, also a very beautiful building.
yes, and really, even at the time when the original building opened, it was really it was groundbreaking, right? Because again, it was just continuing to bring resources and access to medical care that really did not exist, and it was all free to the East End community at the time.
Yeah. With all the changes happening during those years, during that time, political and economic issues, that's why I'm amazed that it's still there. It's that it's evolved to what it is today, because of all the challenges that it
Well,
went through.
yes. And I think something that we really even talk about is that we as an organization and Baker Ripley has always been willing to be flexible and change to what our neighbors need. In the early 1900s, that was making sure that children had a place to go to learn or had a place to go that they knew that they were going to be safe and stay out of trouble and have a warm meal. And then later down the road in the mid 20th century, it was really focused on healthcare. There was a lot of concerns around large diseases and viruses that were going around. And Ripley House really stepped in at that time. And they were a source of people going and getting free healthcare that they knew that they were going to be safe. And then in the 60s, it really turned to education. So when Lyndon B. Johnson enacted the Head Start program, the first place that they looked to was what then became Neighborhood Centers, Inc., which after the organization was named the Houston Settlement Association, they changed their name to Neighborhood Centers, Inc. And that was really because the organization was getting so big. We had so many centers floating around all around the city and the outskirts of the city at the time. And then the extension of Head Start really made that even larger. And Head Start, if you're not familiar, it's basically a free childcare program for qualifying families. And it still exists today. And we still have Head Start centers all across the Houston area. But at that time in the 60s is when the name changed to Neighborhood Centers, Inc. And then in 2017, we realigned again and we decided to change the name of the organization to Baker Ripley. And it was really to honor those two founding members, Alice Baker and Edith Ripley, who without their help and without their guidance and funding, the organization would not exist.
Very strong women,
We love that, right?
Yes, very strong women. And again, I'm amazed because there were so many things happening during those years, and they were able to provide these services. You have the Depression era, and people probably needing food and other things, maybe something to warm their homes or whatever. But and work, yeah, that's great. What I know that it's evolved a lot, and but it seems like it continues with the same basic type of programs and needs for the communities.
The mission of Baker Ripley overall is just to bring education, connection, and resources to emerging communities. And that involves a lot. It's everything from, I think, I like to call it like a triangle of basic needs is at the bottom, and then the top is socioeconomic mobility 100%. You can like you are totally self-sufficient and you don't need Baker Ripley anymore. On the bottom with basic needs, we do food fairs. We partner with the Houston Food Bank and we get for qualified families, they can come and get food. And then we also, for basic needs, we have utility assistance. We can help pay water bills. This is all for qualifying families. Weatherization assistance. For veterans, we have rental assistance programs for homeless or almost homeless veterans. Next up the ladder, we have education, right? So we have Baker Ripley charters or Baker Ripley community schools, which are essentially charter schools. We have 3 schools. And then we have Head Start again, which is the free childcare program for qualifying families in the Houston area. And we also have education as far as we have adult education programming. So we have free GED classes, free ESL classes. And then we also have education, digital literacy. So we can help people learn how to use computers, learn how to use Excel, make sure they know how to fill out a job application online, that kind of thing. And then at the top is where social economic mobility comes in. We have business classes. We want to teach people how to open their own small businesses if they want to do that. We do business pitch competitions where people can come in and pitch their ideas to judges and they can get awards, a couple $1,000s to help with their business. And then we also have our innovation and learning centers. And that is where people can go in and make things. We have access to 3D printers, Adobe softwares that people can come in and use for free. And then we also do have our senior centers as well. I forgot to mention them, but at our senior centers, we offer congregate meals. And then we have boxed food giveaways, fresh food giveaways. I'm sure I'm missing about 10 different things, but I think
Yeah, yeah.
for the most part is covers most of what we do. Oh, and then of course we have our community centers. We have 4 community centers in the Houston area. There's one in the Gulfton Sharpstown area, which is on the southwest side, one in the Aldine area, one in the East End, and then one in Pasadena. And so those community centers are a source for so many things. We do community center classes there, and those classes can really consist of everything from dance classes to pinata making classes, baking classes. It's all about learning and community. And then just there's a number of events that we help hold at our community centers just with the idea of bringing people together. Events for kids, events for adults. It's
Yeah.
really fun and special.
Yeah, you do. You cover all age groups, all age
Right.
groups.
Yes.
And
And with our Head Start program, which is the early childcare, within Head Start, there's a program that's called Home Base, and it is for pregnant women. So we will go in and meet with pregnant women. We'll go to their homes and just have a outline of, okay, what are you going to do once you have your child? Like making sure that parents are set literally before the child is even here to make
yeah,
sure that the parents are set and they know how to be productive in their child's lives and they can set their child up to be in early childcare, early education, so that they're setting that up already for to be way ahead by the time they get to school. So we are literally involved from before a child is born all the way up to seniors.
yeah, and I'm sure that they're very grateful, very appreciative that you're there because sometimes a lot of these new parents or parents don't have the support group that they need or the information that they need. And so I'm sure that they're very grateful.
I've met families before, and for a lot of them, they're like, "What is Head Start?" We're constantly
Right,
telling, like, shaking people, like, "There are resources for you."
right, right.
And when they learn about them, they're stunned at how much support they can get,
Mm,
and they don't have any cost.
right.
Because with Head Start, it's free and it's for a long period of time at 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and the kids get 3 meals. Like there's no cost to the parent. And I'm telling you, I've been in these Head Start centers. It's I can't even imagine how much it is. There's studies done, but just prepping children that are in these programs for when they actually go to school. It's amazing when I'm seeing I I was in one of the Head Start centers last year because we were doing a video project, And just seeing 3-year-olds carrying lunch trays and being independent enough to get their own lunch and go sit down, it's amazing. And I can only imagine how far ahead they already are when they go to school, when they're in kindergarten, because they're like, oh, yeah, I've been doing this,
Yeah.
So
And
it's
and I'm
amazing.
sure it's very helpful for parents who need to go to work and can't find a babysitter or a family member to come take care of their kids. And also they may not have the resources necessary to pay for care.
And we also, our Head Start programs also do programs for children with special needs.
Oh,
So
that's great.
yes, we have a lot of people that come through that their children maybe have some issues with speech, and they're going to be getting specialized care that would just cost them a lot of money, or they would just have difficulty getting outside of if they didn't qualify for Head Start.
Yeah, no, that's great. Oh, I know a lot of parents are probably in love with you or with Baker Ripley just because of that, because they don't know where to turn to. Again, kids with special needs. It's what do we do now?
Right.
But no, that's great that y'all can offer assistance. And does everything that everything that Baker Ripley offers, is that all of that available for free?
So it all depends. I will say mostly yes, but there are a couple of programs that it just varies. So with our community centers, I will say most people qualify for free memberships, but there, if you don't qualify, I believe it's $50 a year. So those are the memberships for the community centers. And then with our innovation and learning centers, one of our centers has a membership for $50 a year, but you're getting the idea there is that people are getting access to make things that they can go and sell. So it's that process of upward economic mobility where you're paying $50 a year and you're getting access to 3D printers, different devices that you can use
Right.
to make product that then you don't have to buy. And then you can go and sell your product.
Well, $50 is
Heads
still pretty good
it's
for a
so
phone.
affordable, and that's the point. But yes, but all of our adult education courses are free, all of our digital literacy courses are free, and there are not any stipulations on those. Head Start, utility assistance, the weatherization assistance, in our neighborhood tax centers, there are income limitations, but
Yeah.
those are all listed on our website.
Oh, yeah, tax service. You just
Yeah.
reminded me. That's great because a lot of people need that help with their taxes.
Yes,
And
we
sometimes they
provide
don't know where to turn to.
They can come to Baker Ripley. We are, I believe, the largest volunteer based tax service in the state, and one of the largest in the United States. So essentially, how the process works is if you or your family make $58,000 or less, you can come to any of our neighborhood tax centers. This year, we're going to have 27 open during tax season,
Wow.
which is crazy.
Yes.
And our volunteers who are assisted by employees will help you do your taxes for free. And we can also help people who have the I-10 numbers. So if you don't have a social security card, if you have the I-10, we can help you do your taxes as well.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
That is
And
so great.
that information is on our website under tax assistance. There's a flyer with all 27 sites.
Yeah. Do you have unique, innovative programs that maybe have recently started?
I would say the one, and I want to go back to, I want to mention a couple other programs that I forgot to, but the one that is newest is Early Reach. So that is the childcare program that we recently partnered with the United Way in the county, Harris County with. And it's similar to Head Start, but it's a little bit different, mainly because with Head Start, Baker Ripley operates the Head Start centers. And with Early Reach, we're essentially partnering with existing childcare centers in the Houston area. And we're giving them funding. And then they are bringing in qualifying families. The qualifications are a bit different from Head Start as well, just slightly different information's on our website, but that is probably the newest program that we have. A couple other programs I forgot to mention here that are super important. We have our civic engagement program. We do a lot with voting rights, block walks during election season. We're hosting events, town halls. We want people to be involved in their communities. It's like also that just getting involved in your community and being self sufficient and knowing what's going on. We also encourage, we have these people that we call them community engineers. So if they're seeing a problem in their community, if they're not happy about something, we want to give them the tools to do something about it. For example, at our Gulfton Community Center, there was a busy roadway in front of the center, and kids like to go play out there, play outside, and community members had come to us and they'd said, "Hey, we want to get this road closed down. It's crazy." And essentially, Baker Ripley told them, we can't do it for you, but we can give you the skills to figure out how to petition to close the road. And it happened. We
Oh,
had,
that's great.
we had community members. They were like dealing with people in the city and their elected officials, filling out the proper paperwork, and they did close down the road. So, just an example of our civic engagement program, our community engineers and what they do. And then we also have our immigration and citizenship programming. We do citizenship forums. We have actually lawyers on staff at Baker Ripley who take cases from immigrants in the community to help them get on a path to citizenship. That's
Oh, that's great.
wasn't sure it was exactly, you're like all new. And I'm like,
Exactly.
wait, I'm gonna circle back here.
You
Yes.
can't run all these programs without volunteers. So, is there an opportunity to volunteer?
So much. Basically, if you heard me talk about something, there are volunteer opportunities in those programs, in those departments. Like I said, we have people that volunteer with our tax centers. We see a lot of people who are retired accountants, retired businessmen. It's so interesting going and volunteering for the tax centers, even just with our community centers, people volunteering. Either they're teaching classes, maybe they're just working the front desk and answering the phones, people volunteering for the food fairs. There's so much stuff. Oh, another big thing is the block walks. During the election season, Baker Ripley will do block walks and we'll call people. So, yeah, just anything that you would want as a volunteer that you might be
Mhm.
passionate about, whether
Mhm.
that's like food insecurity, supporting small business, helping people grow their small businesses, adult education, anything that has to do with technology, digital literacy, or dealing or with seniors. Because let me tell you, volunteering with the seniors is so fun because they're like
Yeah.
the most fun group that we have.
Really.
They're the biggest hams. I love them so much. And so even just going and like spending some time with our seniors, helping give out lunches and congregate meals and breakfast, it's amazing. So
I went
volunteering.
once. I'm going to tell you a story. I went once, volunteered, and they were having some kind of celebration going on. And some of these ladies wanted to do the Mexican folkloric dancing.
Mm.
Like, how can they? They can barely move. And so they had their canes and their walkers. And once they got on the floor, those walkers flew, and so did the canes. And these ladies just grabbed their skirts and they started moving. I'm like, how did that? That's a miracle.
That's
But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Baker Ripley is every day it is an adventure. Every day it is something different, and you're never going to be bored volunteering at Baker Ripley, coming to a Baker Ripley center to get our services. It's always fun. If you're interested in volunteering, if anyone wants to volunteer, just go to our website, our new website, and under the Get Involved section, I believe there's volunteer. There's like just this area where you sign up and you can see all of the volunteer options that we have.
Yeah. Is there an opportunity for donations?
Of course, also on our website, and you can donate general if you want to donate to one specific area, you can absolutely do that. And you can always just call Baker Ripley. We have a phone number on there if you're interested in donating or getting involved, maybe getting your company involved. We do like larger scale volunteer events where corporations can come in. So give us a call and you will get connected to the right people. Yeah. donate,
So,
volunteer, the gamut. We love it.
yeah. So, Elizabeth, what's your website address and your phone number?
Let me get the phone number. It's BakerRipley.org, and that's BakerRipley.org.
You cover it- pretty much all of Houston.
Yes, huge. And we do have some locations, Head Start centers, even in Fort Bend County. And now with the tech centers, there are going to be some tech centers in Montgomery County.
Oh, that's
So,
great.
yes. And I believe we have stuff in Galveston County. So we're literally just everywhere. So a phone number is 713-667-9400.
Yeah. I'm sure Mrs. Baker and Mrs. Ripley are probably, if they were around, they would be so proud of what they've done or what
Oh
they
my gosh.
created.
I think that they would be, I think they would be so proud
Yeah,
because they
definitely.
have touched they have helped touch so I'm sure more than they ever thought they would, right? But
Thousands of
so many
people,
probably
from
millions.
1908. Yeah,
Yeah,
probably millions.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Elizabeth, it was so great to have you on the show and find out about all the programs and services and everything that happens at Baker Ripley. Hopefully, you'll get a lot of people show up, more people that need help. Also, I know that during the hurricanes and the tornado that happened last year, Baker Ripley was also there to help with disasters.
Yes, we do also do disaster relief. Hurricane Harvey was massive for Baker Ripley. When there's something that's going on in the city or the area, local officials know who they can call on, right? And they know
Yeah.
it's Baker Ripley. Yes, that it just always goes into our mission of meeting our neighbors and meeting the people in the community where they are
Mhm.
and what they need. And we really pride ourselves on right after it ends. A lot of people say, okay, we're done. But that's not Baker Ripley. Baker Ripley, we're still helping people. We're still assisting people that were impacted at this point almost a year ago because our idea is that we're not just going away, right? Like
Yeah,
we
they
need
have
more
a lot
people.
of needs that a lot of help with a lot of needs that they have.
So that's our overarching mission is just to, even after the rescue crews leave, after people pack up and go home, Baker Ripley is still here for you.
Thank you for being there. Again, Elizabeth, thank you. Thank you for joining me. And as always, as always, I would like to thank you as well for being with me for Spotlight Houston. And if you have any comments, please send them my way. And if you have any story ideas, please let me know.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Spotlight Houston, a production of Story Zone Media.